Hello and welcome to this amazing webinar today. So today I have an inspirational woman. Her name is Phylicia Walsh. Phylicia is a mother. She's a business owner. She's a wealth creator. She is just everything. And today we're just going to talk about her experiences and how we can all build wealth in real estate, because it's really, really important. And if you want to know, my name is Porcia. I am a mortgage agent. I'm a mom of 6. I wear so many hats, but the most important hat that I wear is that I want to make sure that all of us learn and understand what it means to create wealth. Because everybody's talking about generational wealth, but a lot of people don't understand. It's good to talk about it, but we need to understand what it means to build wealth and how working with a mortgage agent and a realtor can help you on that path to creating wealth in real estate. So I'll let Phylicia introduce herself and then we'll start.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Portia, for the introduction and for inviting me to have this conversation, because honestly, this is one of the main reasons why I got into real estate, is to educate and to kind of just shed that knowledge and share with the community on how to build wealth through real estate, because I think it's such an important part of our financial future. So again, my name is Phylicia Walsh. I am a real estate agent licensed in Ontario. I do work out of the Greater Toronto area, and I work a lot with first-time home buyers, first-time investors. I also help sell homes as well. So anything you need related to real estate, I'm definitely here to assist you with that. As mentioned, I got into this business to educate. So I do take a very informative approach when I'm talking and dealing with my current clients as well as future clients. I have built a brand called Just Get Realty just for that fact, as an educational platform for real estate and how to build wealth. So I'm really excited to get into this conversation with you today.
Yes, I love it, because you're always educating on your stories, on your reels, everywhere. And I think education is so important, right? Because we can do what we can do, but if we're not educated and informed about what it is that we're doing, then it doesn't become lasting, right? Because wealth is not short-term, wealth is long-term. Because a lot of people have short-term wealth, right? We have short-term wealth, but what about the long-term? We want wealth that will transcend, because I'm a mother, you're a mother. So we're fighting for a legacy here. Yes. We're fighting for the next generation so that they can thrive. And you know, one thing that I love about you is that education piece. And also, I want you to kind of walk us through your journey, because I don't think you just became a realtor for the sake of it. There's a passion behind it. Why did you decide to become a realtor?
Well, to make a long story short, I grew up in a single parent household, and there wasn't much financial literacy being passed around. My mom did the best that she could, no fault of her own. It's based on, how much she knew and what she could pass on to us. I started working at the age of 16. I thought, let me start working, help my mom out a little bit, but I didn't know much more than that. I started working, I'm buying food, I'm buying clothes, I'm in high school. Like, what else do I really need? And as I got into my early 20s, I had no debt. I went to school, I was working full time while I was in college, and I paid off my school debt at that time. So I had no debt, but I also had no credit, and I didn't think I needed credit. I thought, why do I need credit? I have no debt. I'm good to go. I was renting. I thought, I'm free. Why would I want to be stuck to a 25-year mortgage? There's no need for that. And I'm just kind of trotting along in my 20s, enjoying life as I should. And then it hit me one day. I thought I should think a little bit more about my financial future, because I'm not really happy with my job. Do I really want to work here for the rest of my life? I had my first child, and I thought, dang, I really have to, get my financial future straight. And that's when I started to learn more about real estate and the benefits of real estate. But at that time, I wasn't in a position to buy because I had no credit. And so I started to build my credit, and we were renting a basement apartment. At this point now, we had 2 kids, me and my husband, we had 2 kids. Our landlord knocked on the door one day and handed us a paper and said, hi, I really don't want to give this to you. I just had my child 8 weeks prior to that. She's like, I really don't want to give this to you, but we're selling our house. We just purchased a new home. So this is your 60-day notice to vacate. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We have to uproot involuntarily our entire life and go and try to find somewhere else to live. And so me and my husband sat down and we talked about it, and we thought, do we really want to keep doing this and be in this cycle where we have to live somewhere, get up and move? And we have these young kids. I don't want them to live that way. And so we made a decision at that point to separate, because he had to stay here for work in Toronto. And so he stayed with his family. It was a family of 4. We also had a family of 4, and I didn't think it was the best for us to go and kind of invade on their space. And so I moved out with a friend who thankfully allowed me to stay there rent-free. She lived 2.5 hours away. And my husband was able to visit us every other weekend for 1 day during this time. We were away for 6 months, but during this time, we saved everything that we could. This was our big sacrifice. And after that 6 months, we came back, literally emptied our savings account and purchased our first home, which, by the way, was a complete gut job. So it wasn't like it was our dream home and we separated for 6 months to come back to this beautiful home. We separated, came back to a gut job, renovated, built it up, renovated the basement. Now we rent it out. We have a tenant of our own. We're extremely happy where we are. But I'm telling this whole story to say, as I, traveled through that journey to get here, initially I thought to myself, who needs real estate? Why would I need to purchase a home? What is it really going to do to me? But as I experienced the benefits for myself, I thought to myself, I need to share this information with more people. I learned late in my 20s. So I'm like, there must be more people out there, my age, older, younger, who need to hear this information. And that's honestly why I'm here today. Like, when I say I'm here to educate people, I'm literally here to educate people. This has nothing to do with making money in real estate. This has everything to do with building everyone up and seeing everybody win.
Yeah. And I love that, because it is about building everybody up, because I believe that wealth is created with the education, right? Because you can't create wealth without education. And also, when you give off of yourself, when you actually share your knowledge, the money comes. Money comes when you're doing what's right, when you're putting yourself in sin, because all of us, right? Even both of us are from the HR background, and it's about human capital, right? But how do we cultivate, how do we build human capital if all of us are keeping our knowledge to ourselves? We have to give it out there, because even in creating wealth, we can't create wealth if we don't go out there and we don't help people and pass on that knowledge. And you created wealth by first making a decision. And I want us to really talk about the fundamentals of doing this, right? You made a decision that, you know what? Renting, yes, we've been doing it, but something's got to change.
Right.
Something's got to change. I'm tired. Sometimes we got to get angry and say, I'm tired. I'm tired. Okay.
Yeah.
I am tired. Right. And I think once you get tired of doing the same over and over, because I think, God works in mysterious ways. This was God pushing you guys, but some people don't have that push.
Right.
Don't have that push. So how do they start when they're so complacent?
Yes.
That's my question. How do somebody start when you're complacent with what you're doing with renting? Because a lot of people are there right now.
Yeah. And honestly, that's such a good point, because it really comes down to mindset at the end of the day. We have our goals, we have these things that we want to accomplish, but without the right mindset, you really can't push yourself to do these things, because things are going to happen in life, right? You might have this goal, but there are going to be obstacles. There are going to be setbacks. The mindset will help you look at those setbacks and obstacles, not as permanent failure, but just as a temporary setback. And if you have the persistence and the mindset behind that, you can now push past those obstacles and continue on your journey, right? And so if you're sitting there complacent, then you're absolutely right, Portia. Something has to change. Yeah. It might not be an external factor that's going to force you to do that. So now you have to work from within and make that change for yourself. Nobody else can push you. We can talk for 3 hours, and unless you're ready to take in this information, it's not going to help you, right? So
because I always say that results is in the action, not in the saying. it's in the actions, right?
Mhm.
And also like, so how can somebody, so for wealth creation, we're talking about the fundamentals, right? And we said that it's about the mindset. It's you making a decision that this is something that you want to do. So
Yes.
why is real estate so pivotal to wealth creation,
Right.
in your opinion?
Yeah. So like you said, I have an HR background, and I actually used to work at a wealth management firm where they managed accounts for ultra high net worth clients. And I can tell you, every single one of those clients have real estate in their portfolio. Real estate really is a cornerstone of wealth. So many benefits of real estate. Not only does it serve as that basic need of shelter that every human needs, and it doesn't, and it also provides land where we can, grow our crops and our food and things like that. But you can also use it now to leverage and to build from there. So there are a lot of people who think, oh, I want to buy my first home. It's going to be a detached and it's going to be my forever home. And they live in it for 25 years and that's it. So there's two ways that I look at real estate. It's either going to be a liability or it's going to be an asset. And as a liability, it's that person who says, I'm going to live in this home forever, pay off my mortgage, and I'm good to go. But when that mortgage gets paid off, you still have your property tax because the government always wants their share, and you still have the home maintenance. It's still taking money out of your pocket. It's not generating anything for you. But now you have to flip that script and you start to leverage. You have that mortgage that now you can leverage the equity from that mortgage to build something more for yourself. And that's something you would definitely know a lot about because you're a mortgage agent, right? So refinancing.
No, and I like that. I like that because like I said, we're talking about the foundations. Because I think that we can't start something unless we have the foundational thing. I have a nonprofit as well, and I'm all about building foundations because I think it's hard to really break a hard foundation. It's really hard to damage a foundation. But when we don't have the right foundations and the right things in place, that's when somebody can easily just say something and we'll hear something in the news and we just allow that to become our story, right? But we need to start to rewrite the stories because remember, the news is somebody's opinion. I'm sorry. The news is somebody's opinion. Research is somebody's opinion. And remember, research is consistently being challenged. So you need to challenge those things too. Right? So just because right now you talked about you got your first home, you also have started real estate investing. So how does somebody start? Right? From your perspective as a realtor, because I know that we always say go to a mortgage agent and come, but I think you are just bigger than that. You're a realtor and also a wealth creator. So how does somebody start?
Yeah. So I think the number one thing is to set your financial foundation. Something very simple and basic, have a household budget in place. It is so important because there are so many costs up front for real estate, but then there's also going to be costs ongoing that you need to be able to manage. And you need to be able to look at your financial picture and say, do I have the room to add? Because real estate investing and buying real estate makes sense if you're in a financial position to do so. We don't want you to get out there and over leverage yourself and to hurt yourself living paycheck to paycheck. It has to be the right move for you. So that is the very first step. I always say setting that financial foundation first. Second step, I would say, is connecting or doing your research and connecting with experts like you and me. So speaking with that real estate agent, speaking with a mortgage agent like yourself, getting a pre-qualification. I always advise clients, even if you're a year to 2 years out, talk to a mortgage agent who's willing to talk to you, like Portia. Get a pre-qualification to figure out where am I right now with my savings and my financial situation and where do I need to be? That way you know where the gap is and you can now set your goals to reach that. These are literal steps that me and my husband took when we were going to purchase our first home. And then the next step is taking action. And I'm telling you right now, you are most likely going to have to make some sacrifices along the way, especially with the way real estate is moving right now, right? So those are I would say the first 3 basic steps that you want to start with. But again, start with the mindset, because if you don't have the right mindset, it's going to be very painful for you.
Yeah. And I think it's really important I love the fact that you said about do not over leverage yourselves. Know where you are and how you can create that financial picture to achieve that goal. And I think that a lot of times we challenge the news. Like the news is just it's white noise. Like people, we need to stop listening to the white noise. That is not your reality. It's an illusion to stop you from getting to that wealth. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. So one thing that I see is, I read all these articles, first-time home buyers, it's going to be hard to buy a home. It's going to be hard, right? And I even had a client email me. She's like, oh, right, we're going to pause. We're going to pause because there's something that we're thinking and we don't know if it's going to come. So we're going to pause maybe later this year, maybe next year. And my email to her was, you know what, at the end of the day, you cannot say you can't do something without really researching and really seeing what you can do. So speak to a mortgage agent, right? Who has your best interest at heart? Because a lot of people will, not everybody's the same, but a mortgage agent who is about wealth creation, who is thinking more long-term, not short-term, who's not thinking about your just one home and gone. Listen, I always say, my question when I deal with my clients, when we close, the question is not see you. The question is what's next? How can we utilize this home to grow and build wealth for you?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what it is. It's about leveraging.
Yeah.
And making your mortgage work for you.
Exactly.
That's what the goal is. Work creation is making it might be a liability, but you can turn that liability real quick into an asset when you utilize the equity to invest in real estate.
Yeah.
Right? To do that, right? And that's what we all have to do. We all have to look at what we have. We have to start. And that's what you're saying. Start with where you are.
Yes.
And don't get disappointed. Maybe it might be 6 months. It might be a month. It might be 2 years.
Yeah.
But at least you have a destination that you're going towards, right? So what would you say is the next step? So after we've dealt with the mindset, after we've looked at where we are, what's next?
So once you do that, you're going to be doing your research, right? You want to know, okay, first of all, am I getting into this home and if we're talking about from an investment standpoint with building wealth, right? Do I want to live in this home? Or am I in a position where I can purchase an investment property, which, by the way, if you purchase an investment property, your down payment's going to be larger, just right off the bat, 20% down, can't get around that, right? So do I have the funds to be able to now invest in a property without living in it? If not, you can look at other ways of investing. So there's something called house hacking, or that's the term that we coined. That's what we did. We purchased a home. It needed a little bit of renovation. We rented out the basement while we live at the top. And now the tenant is helping us pay our mortgage. So we're paying a lot less that we would have paid in rent. They don't cover our entire mortgage, but they're helping us paying it down, and we are now building appreciation. What we were able to do within 2 years, and I don't want to say thankfully because of the pandemic, but due to the pandemic, right? The acceleration of what's been happening in the market for the real estate, we were able now to build up enough equity to pull and purchase a second property.
Yes, congrats.
So yes, thank you very much.
Congrats.
Honestly, I look back and I think to myself, man, that 6 months we spent apart means absolutely nothing. It feels like such a grain of salt. You know what I mean? I just get so passionate about it because it honestly changed my financial future in a way that I never could have imagined it would have done that. And that's because we just chose to just jump in right away. Like I said, we emptied our entire savings to make it. I don't recommend that, but we did that. We thought it was right for us. That was a sacrifice we were willing to make. But other ways you can get in, like if you're not able to, maybe you're single, because I hear this a lot. Oh, I'm single. I don't have a husband. I don't have this. Find a friend. Maybe there's a friend out there who wants to get into real estate, or a stranger. Social media has, like me and you, Portia, we met through social media.
Yes.
Right? And we have this connection, and maybe there's someone you can find out there. Talk about it. Tell people your goals. And we call it joint venture. Get together with someone to purchase a property. Maybe you have a little bit more money, maybe they have a little bit less, but maybe they're a contractor and they can come in and do the renovations at no cost. There are ways to balance this and create a partnership for you to get in and get in now.
Yeah, no, that's so good because the goal is to get in, right? And that's the thing, especially in our community. That's a hard conversation to discuss. Like, that's a hard conversation because a lot of times we feel like there's nobody to help us, or, why do I want this person to help? What if something happens? And we're talking about the outcome and not really seeing the opportunities that are right in front of us, right? We don't want to buy homes with our parents, or we don't want to buy homes with like a group of people because you know what? Oh, somebody told me that somebody did this and somebody did this. But that's the thing. That's why you need to inform yourself. You can't just go into things blindly. The same way you go into real estate with education and with the knowledge backed behind it, the same way you make sure the people that you're connected with, right? Maybe get a JV, joint venture, partnership agreement drafted up.
Yes.
Right? Get a lawyer, right? Go to a lawyer, spend the money, okay? Yeah. Not for no free lawyer.
Yeah. It's true.
Spend the money. Spend the money. Like, this is your livelihood. Don't cut corners.
Yeah.
Don't cut corners because, I was in one of the groups on Facebook and it was talking about somebody was talking about her client and how the client did something with the lawyer and now the lawyer owns her home and she doesn't know who the home belongs to. And I think because of the desperation to become homeowners, sometimes we allow that nostalgia to really make us do things. Like, we don't do things from a desperate place. Exactly. Desperation will get you. Yeah. Like, that's why you see all these scams, right? Yeah. And then people losing hundreds and thousands of dollars because they wanted the fast way. They wanted the cheap way. They wanted the easy way. But remember, life is not easy. Mm-hmm. Life is not hard, but it's very simple. If you make a decision, it's about the decisions that we are making. We are the sum of the decisions that we are making in our lives. So if you want to be a wealth creator with real estate, you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to make the decision. You have to be willing to challenge and be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What is uncomfortable? A lot of us are not willing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
A lot of us like things that are easy. Oh, somebody said this, so now I can't. Why don't you challenge that I can't?
Right.
And say, you know what? I can. Who do I know? And I always say it on my social media, on my Instagram lives, who do I know? Who can I partner up with? Right? A lot of times we're making statements and saying, I can't, no way. But who do I know? Who do I know? Do I know a Phylicia? Do I know a Porcia? Do I know a financial advisor? Do I know this?
Yeah.
We need to get that because the only way we can do things. And I love that you said COVID because you know what? A lot of us have taken a very negative approach to COVID. But to be honest, COVID has blessed us in so many ways. Yeah. Like, let us take, and everything, we look at the opposite. We look at the positivity in things. COVID blessed us. A lot of y'all are sitting on equity because of COVID. So bless COVID. Say, thank you, COVID. Thank you. Yeah. Right? A lot of people, COVID blessed us. A lot of us saved so much money for gas. Okay, now gas is like 1.5.
1.5. That and inflation.
Remember when gas was like 67 cents?
When we couldn't go anywhere and we were just sitting at home and we're like thinking,
Yes. Yes. But that's the thing. We need to look at the positivities in our life, right? We can't just say no. We need to look at the positivity and challenge those things because that's the only way you create wealth.
Right.
By being positive, by being a positive thinker, by looking at the no's and turning them into yes. No should fuel you. They're opportunities.
Yeah.
Because if Phylicia said no, okay, who's next? Eventually, somebody's gonna say yes. If you're persistent enough, somebody's gonna get annoyed and be like, "Yes, just take it. Just take it. Just do it. I'll do it. I'll do it." Right? So then, after you've looked at where you are, you've looked at who you can partner up with, analyze all of that. What's next?
So once you do that, just like you said, now you have to take that action, and it's probably going to be very uncomfortable. You now need to look for the deals. You're connecting with that real estate agent to find the deal to make that purchase on. So once you have the money in place, you typically go and talk to a mortgage agent to get that formal pre-approval. They're going to educate you. And there are important factors that they're looking at, right? So you need to be managing this at all times. Whether you're 6 months away or 3 years away from purchasing that property, you want to always be managing your income, your debt, your credit, and your savings, because these are the 4 major factors that lenders will be looking at when it's time to qualify you for a mortgage. And even when you're partnering with somebody else, if you do partner with someone else, you want to ask them those crucial questions as well. Where are you at with your employment, right? What other type of income are you bringing in? So now when you're going to make these purchases, you're doing your research. Maybe you start in Greater Toronto area and you realize we're priced out. Even if we bring 4 people onto the project, we can't afford this. It's not, let's give up, we're priced out, it's never going to happen for us. It's how do we re-strategize and pivot and take another road to get what we want. Because I'm telling you, in Ontario alone, there are many other regions that are still pretty affordable, relatively affordable to get into and make a purchase. At this point, you might be now looking at a straight investment versus somebody or more one person living in the residence. But there are possibilities, because if you can get in at a lower price point in London, Ontario, or St. Thomas, then you're probably going to be able to save up that 20% down payment. If you don't have the down payment, find the down payment. You can go and get borrowed funds. Ask family if they want to invest in this venture, right? This is the importance of educating yourself and planning, because if you have that plan and you're able to present it to people, maybe people will say, you know what, I will. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with this. If I know I can get my money back in 2, 3, 4 years, yes, I'm going to invest 20,000, 50,000, whatever you need to get started.
Yeah. And I love that, because you know what? And the great thing about me is I'm not just a mortgage agent. I'm a credit repair coach. And I'm also about to add financial advisor to my stuff, because I think it's so important. That financial piece, it's so important, because we're not only looking at you building wealth, but we also have to make sure we're looking at the whole financial picture, the whole financial house, the protection and everything that you have to keep that going, right? And that's what it is. We have to really start getting out of our heads, right? Because I think everything that you're talking about, Phylicia, is just really getting out of your head. Getting out of your head, because, a lot of times we are afraid to go to our parents. Sometimes the parents are really willing to help, but we just don't go. We just don't go. And we think that the whole goal is to become mortgage free. And I love the fact that you said that your first home, right? First time home, to all the first time home buyers listening, your first home, I repeat, doesn't have to be the home you occupy. Your first home can become an investment property, right? And I think sometimes you're like, oh, why would I do this when no, if that's what going to work for you to get in, use that.
Use it,
right? Use it, because if you really want to create wealth in real estate, you'll get active. Like, you'll go in a place where you're just like, listen, I am commando. Like, I'm coming for everybody. I'm coming for everybody and anything. Like, I don't care. Like, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to get. And I think what you said about the planning is so important. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what you're doing, you're never going to get there. A lot of us have destinations without a plan. A lot of us have destinations without a plan, right? You can't say I want to be a wealth creator and don't even know 1 or 2s or 3s about what it means to be a wealth creator. A lot of us want to be wealth creator, but we don't even want to fix our credit. We've never seen our credit since we turned 18. Like, we've never even looked about it, right? But these are all the things that are required. It means that you need to get active. You need to make sure that the things that are going to hinder you from being able to do it, that you are really identifying them and you are really tackling and really working them out. Because if you don't, then in the end, you will have the down payment. You will have the mortgage you will have the mortgage, but then they will decline you because now you have to wait maybe 6 months, right? I've helped people fix their credit in less than 3 months. It's even in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes everybody's story is different. And sometimes you might have to be the one that waits longer, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to. And even like when it comes to even parents helping, one thing that I always do with all my clients when they have other people involved, right? I always make sure that other person understands that this is not a long term, right? But it's more of a short term. You're helping them for short term because we're going to also put a plan in place to make sure that there's a potential for you to come out of it, right? So let's say if your parents are helping you and your parents are thinking, oh, I don't want to help you because you know what? I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life. You have to put a plan in place for them to see, you know what? This is to help them temporarily, but we're going to still create a thing where there will come a time where we can refinance and where you can take yourself off because they'll be at the point where they can manage it, right? But even when you have the opportunity to help somebody, don't just say no, right? Especially when it comes to our kids. Don't say no to your kids because wealth, your child creating wealth is going to benefit you. Okay, because I know mama and papa, when they get in that retirement age, they start looking at their kids. They start looking at us. So if you're gonna say no to me in building wealth, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Right? How can I help you? So we have to think about it more beyond ourselves because wealth creation is so important.
Yeah.
We need to start creating and increasing and decreasing the wealth gap in our communities, in all communities.
Yeah.
Right? Because we all deserve it. We all deserve it. So what else?
So actually, I wanted to touch on that point about wealth, right?
Yeah.
And there was a point you made earlier as well that I should say. This is a long-term investment. Real estate is a long-term. Wealth building is long-term. And so people need to realize it might be a slow burn at first. You're not going to see results right away. Okay. And just because you see somebody buying 10 properties, 20 properties in a year, that doesn't mean that they didn't work, 20 years to get to that position, or we don't know how hard they're working in terms of networking, connecting with the people who can make it happen. So it really comes down to how much effort you're going to put into it. But I did want to touch base on what wealth actually means, because sure, we could be buying this real estate, we could be getting the cash flow, and we'll get into that in a minute. But what does wealth actually mean? And it has so many different meanings. So for me personally, and I think Porcia, you would share the same sentiments, but wealth comes down to, yes, the financial piece, but it also comes down to that time freedom as well. That time to be able to do the things that I want to do, spend time with my family, spend time with my friends, and working on the other passion projects that I have. Also, to me, wealth means to be self-sustainable, because you see things that are happening in our society today. When pandemic hit, even now, with the vaccine mandates, and we won't get into that topic, but there are a lot of restrictions out there. The cost of food is going up. All these things are happening. So are we being controlled by the system? Are we reacting to what's happening? Or are we being proactive? And building that wealth, being proactive is part of building wealth as well, right? So it's really important to have that clearly in your mind, what it actually means to you to build wealth, so your goals in real estate or whatever else you're doing align with that, right? So I'm curious to know too, Porcia, what do you think for wealth? What does that mean to you?
No, I think wealth, to me, there's just so much. It's like a big word. And that's the thing, because time freedom is really important, because I always say there's no point in losing sleep because you're trying to build wealth, right? Wealth in the beginning, yes, you have to go through some stuff, but the whole goal is to get your time back. The whole goal, and wealth, there's spiritual wealth, there's physical wealth, there's emotional wealth, there's so many things, right? And a lot of us don't have that. Right. And I believe that because it all works together, if you don't have one, you don't have none of them, because eventually the other one will spill in, where now you don't have your time. Now you're all sick because you're stressed out. Now you're this and that. Right. So that's why it's important for us to make sure we're in understanding of what it is. And you know what? I think wealth can mean different to everybody. Right. And that's the thing about these subjective words, right? They mean different to everybody. right? But I think there's still one thing, right? It's about time freedom. Everybody wants to have time back. All of us are doing what we're doing for our children so that our children don't have to go through the things that we went through. Our children don't have to go through the lack of financial education that we went through that made it harder, right? That made we could have probably done it faster if we were well educated, but it's okay. We went through it. Now it's up to us to pass on that knowledge to tell people, yes, I did it, but you don't have to do it.
Right.
You don't have to go through it, right? So creating wealth is making sure that the wealth that you're creating is not snatching your time. It's not snatching your peace. Because if it's snatching your peace, it's not wealth.
Yeah.
It's not wealth. It's not wealth. Anything that takes away your peace, I'm sorry, it's not worth wealth, boo-boo. It's not. Okay? If you're a homeowner and you're stressed out and you're working 10 jobs, I don't know how people do it, but I've heard people have 5 jobs. If that's what you're doing, driving the Uber, driving DoorDash, driving Skip the Dishes, and then you also have a 9 to 5, and then you have a weekend job and this and that. That's stress.
Yeah.
That is stress. That's not wealth. Wealth is easy. Wealth is ease and flow.
Yeah.
But it's only when you decide to really understand. So that's why we're here talking about it. Wealth education is more important than the wealth creation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's the education that will lead to the wealth creating. Okay.
Right.
So then now that we've created the wealth and we've done all of that, I know we have to end soon, but now that we've created all of that, how do you feel satisfied? Like, how does somebody know and how do they continue?
Yeah.
How are you still continuing?
Yeah. So like once you get into it, again, knowing where you're headed, what your goal is, but now it's all about leveraging, what you have. And it doesn't mean you're going to leverage your real estate to buy more real estate. Real estate isn't the only way, but real estate is a vehicle and a tool that you can use to build more wealth. So now you have that property. Instead of selling your asset and losing the asset, because a lot of people today are selling, they're cashing out. Oh my gosh, look how much equity I'm getting, cash out. And then what happens? You have this bag of cash. Guess what? Inflation is decreasing the value of that cash. You put in a savings account, you're losing your money. You need to have a plan for your money. Take the money. If you want to cash out, fine, but put it somewhere else. It needs to go into another investment. And real estate has always proven to be a hedge against inflation over the years, right? In the big picture. So you can take the equity out of your home instead of selling it. Take the equity. You can either buy more real estate, a rental property that's going to bring in that cash flow, or you can go and invest in stocks. You can go consolidate your debt if you have any high interest debt. You can go and renovate your home to increase the value, the appreciation. But honestly, I feel like everyone should be buying more real estate, getting that positive cash flowing property, because if you have kids, in 20, 25 years, when they're done school, they could take that property, they could sell it.
Yeah.
They could continue to hold it and rent it out. And now they're just getting that 100% cash flow because there's no more mortgage, or they can live in it for themselves. There's so many opportunities that you can use for real estate, working in HR, seeing older people, who have retired, literally crying on my phone. Oh, my husband just died. I have no money. I can't afford this. We're only getting $200 a month from our pension.
Wow.
Had they, they have to sell their house. Had they bought in a second property, had that positive cash flow coming in, that is income they don't have to work for anymore. It's just flowing in. It's helping now sustain that lifestyle that they want to continue to live. So it's all about recycling, sustaining, building, and thinking about what's next, because it doesn't just stop just like that. How can I continue now to make my money grow and work for me?
Yes, that's really good. And one thing that I wanted to touch on too is, refinancing. A lot of people run away from it, but it's actually a powerful tool that you have to help you grow that wealth, right? Because there's so many ways that you can refinance. A lot of times, even financing can help you pay out so much debt that you can even put into your mortgage and not even see that much of an increase in your mortgage payments and still have that freedom to use that money towards something else, right? And when you talk about investing in real estate and making your mortgage work for you. And that's what you did. You take equity from that property and you use that to put that on to another property, right? That is also another way. So there's so many different tools, but let us, especially as homeowners, let us not be ignorant. Let us just not think we don't know, because the information is out there. There's so much information out there nowadays.
Yeah.
Social media, Google, YouTube,
yeah,
TikTok, everywhere. So we have to be able to want to go and find this information and even connect with people who are willing to freely. It's for free. We don't charge y'all.
Yeah.
It's for free. We give you information for free. We're helping you build wealth for free. FREE, okay? Free.
Free 99.
Free of charge. Free of charge. And we are the payment that we get is when you have wealth. When you have what you need. That is the payment. It satisfies me when I see, because you know what? When you do it, you know what joy it brings to my heart? It brings me joy, because now your children and their children and their children and their children and their children now can thrive.
Yeah.
Right? Now are empowered to continue this education and this wealth creation. Right? And that's what it is. And we teach as we're doing it, don't just hand off inheritance for your kids. We hand off education with inheritance, okay? Because the education will keep them building and keep on growing and keep on doing it, so that the wealth doesn't stop with your kids. It continues with their kids and their kids and their kids. So education has to be important in our homes, especially financial education and financial literacy, because nobody's going to teach your kids but you. Nobody has your kids' best interest but you.
Exactly.
So teach your kids. Teach them. That's the thing. Teach them instead of giving them this quote that I heard. Instead of giving your kids what you didn't have, teach them what you didn't have.
Yeah.
That's wealth creation right there. Because wealth is beyond the money. It's about education. Education. Because remember, somebody can't take your education. They can take your money, but they can't take what's in your mind.
Exactly.
What's in your mind. Okay. So just before we go, any last minute thoughts, any last minute things you want to share, Phylicia?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reiterate again, it's all about the mindset. You know, you can't move past what you're telling your mind to do. If you say you can't do it, then you are 100% right. So please, you know, read the books, connect with people, network, and get your mindset in the game, because time waits for no one. Me and Portia, we're going to be out there. We're going to be with our, 30, 40 properties. We're going to have our cash flow, sipping something somewhere else, not in Canada, but somewhere on an island. And you might still be sitting there 10 years from now saying, I wish I got into the market 10 years ago when houses were $1 million, because now they're $10 million. It's not going to stop, guys. It's going to continue. The cycle will continue. Don't get caught up in it. Don't be scared by the headlines. Start making moves today. Start taking action.
Amen. Amen. That was so great. And how do they connect with you? How does the audience connect with you?
So you can connect with me on Instagram, my number one source where I love connecting with people, at Just Get Realty. You can DM me, send me an email there. You can also reach me at my email, Phylicia@justgetrealty.com. And, I'd love to connect with you guys. Any questions that you guys have, always having webinars and lives like that. So I'd love to connect with you and just hear about your goals.
Thank you. And once again, I am Portia, your mortgage whisperer. Okay. Your mortgage whisperer. I will, and I also do credit. So don't let credit stop you. Don't let what you don't know stop you. Connect with people. And I'm also on Instagram at Portia Does Mortgages. That is also the number one place that I find my clients, and I deal with my clients and talk to clients. So even if you listen to this, okay? Even if you listen to us, DM us and tell us, how did this touch you? What did you learn? Right? What were your takeaways? DM us, because I'm ready to help. We're both ready to help, because it's beyond us. We're trying to save the next generation here. Okay? It's beyond me. It's beyond her. We're trying to change the trajectory of our generation and the generations the kids that are coming. Because if we teach our kids, they're going to be around their friends and stuff, and they're going to be confident enough to show their friends. And that's how we transfer knowledge all around the world. Okay? So thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for being here. We're so excited. Connect with us. Portia Does Mortgages on Instagram, and Phylicia at
Just get realty.
Yes. See, she's telling y'all, just get realty, okay? Just get realty. See, that simple. She's telling you, just do it. Just get it. She's like a Nike of real estate. Just do it. Just do it. So we will see you all again. It's a pleasure and an honor to speak with you guys and to transfer the knowledge and the wealth of knowledge that we have to you guys. And like we said, don't just take it and go. We want you to take action. The result is in the action. Don't just be a doer of the word, but be an action taker. So we will see you all later. Thank you.